Hi, this is Tina Neal, and thanks everyone for joining. So as you all know, this afternoon, we downgraded the alert level for Kilauea Volcano from warning to watch. And this was done because of the trend over the last several weeks where we've seen first decreasing and then cessation of any active lava activity in about the lower 8 miles of the June 27th flow field. And that has occurred because, for reasons we're still researching, the lava tube system that was distributing lava as far down as very dear to the lava market area became unable to sustain lava flux, and so that portion of the lava flow field became inactive. Based on the fact that there is no active lava within any short distance to either homes or infrastructure, and the currently active lava, which is back upslope near the main vent, these were criteria that allowed us to reduce the alert level, because we, as we say in the product that went out today, based on continued activity at the current level, it would likely be months at minimum before lava would again reach Highway 130 or threaten homes and infrastructure. So in a nutshell, the imminency or the immediacy of the threat to homes and infrastructure has been reduced, and that's why we're stepping down an alert level. But as we say, we want to emphasize that the eruption continues. Lava is still being produced at Pu'u'o'o at a steady rate. And even though the breakout activity is confined to within about the first 4 miles down slope from Pu'u'o'o, we have to watch to see how those breakouts evolve and where they head to understand what's coming next. I'll stop.
Questions for HBO?
Hi, this is Baron from Hawaii 24/7. And it was said in the past that the HVO wasn't sure what the connection was between the Pu'u'o'o crater vent itself and the June 27th lava flow field. Is there a correlation that you folks are seeing between those two?
I'm sorry, you're asking about a correlation between activity at Pu'u'o'o and the June 27th lava flow field?
Correct.
Well, the Pu'u'o'o vent is the source of the lava that's coming out and feeding the lava flow field. So the vent has remained unchanged since last June. I'm sorry, maybe I don't fully understand what you're getting at.
Well, it was just before, I guess it was a question about when there were tilt readings and whatnot to see why the output from the flow field had slowed down from the source. Whether it was, plumbing was connected directly to the same level as Pu'u'o'o itself in the main crater.
Yeah, I mean, we're watching various kinds of data streams out at Pu'u'o'o and here at Kilauea Summit, and I don't think our thinking has not changed about the connection of Pu'u'o'o to the current flow field. We haven't seen a dramatic change in status at Pu'u'o'o based on looking at our tilt meter data or other things. So the system has remained pretty much the same out there. The summit of Kilauea has been oscillating up and down. We've been having repeated DI events. There's been no significant change, I guess, is probably the important thing to say.
So it's remained the same over the past few months for Pu'u'o'o itself?
For the most part, yes.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Tina. Tom here, the Tribune Herald. My understanding is that the lava tube below these breakouts continues to cool. Is that correct?
That's correct. The last geology crew who went out and overflew the area with the thermal camera, they noted that the absolute temperature as best determined with this airborne thermal camera made it look like the lava tube has cooled somewhat, not a great deal, but definitely in the downward direction, which is what we'd expect if it was not receiving fresh lava.
Okay. And I assume there's still at least a remote possibility that it could be reoccupied lava. I understand that's probably very unlikely at this point, but that's still possible?
Well, we're leaving it out there as a possibility, but you're absolutely right. With each passing day that it doesn't happen, it's less and less likely.
Thank you.
I think it's fair to say that the very fact that these breakouts are happening in that upper 4 miles of the flow field means that the tube system is just not functioning, unable to contain the lava below that 4 mile mark.
And I think you mentioned, why that's occurring is still being researched.
That's right.
Is there any likely theories or?
Current theories about why the tube system has broken down.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let Jim speak to that.
The basic idea we're looking at is whether there's a blockage in the tube. That's something we can't see from the surface. And the breakouts do not generally support that. Usually when a blockage occurs in a tube, there'll be big breakouts just upstream of the blockage. In the current case, the big breakouts are up near the vent, with the smaller ones down by the potential blockage or whatever. So we're still trying to think of other reasons that lower system may have been abandoned so abruptly on March 12th.
And are any of these breakouts forming their own lava tubes?
Probably. They're too hot for us to see that still. I know that one up on the flank of Pu'uho has already formed a short segment of its own tube.
And I imagine it's too early to tell which breakout may become dominant.
That's correct.
This is Paul Drews from KITV. I just had a question for Chief. Just with the downgrade, what does this mean for the county?
Well, at this time, we're still going to be joined at the hip with HVO at monitoring the activity going forward. We're very lucky to have HVO on island because, they not only bring the ability to conduct the physical assessments on the ground and aerial assessments once a week, but they have tremendous technology out there in the field that will be monitoring what's going on, to include the satellite imagery. So, our goal, I think, is to continue to monitor this because, as both Tina and Dr. Jim pointed out, is the eruption continues. So there's still a supply of lava that is being discharged from Pu'uho and being transported in maybe different directions, no longer posing that imminent threat. But we are going to continue to work together to monitor the eruption behavior and activity and track it, and as necessary, discuss any kind of heightened awareness or alert if that should become a concern. So as far as civil defense, we're going to continue to maintain vigilance. It may result in a decrease in some of our activities, specifically the overflights. But as I mentioned, HVO has technology out there in the field that can track and monitor conditions, as well as, we have a really good relationship with the tourism industry in the sense of the aircraft operators that conduct tours. So if there's any change in observations, they're really good about telling us what they see, and then we can make decisions collaboratively with HVO to get out right away and assess any kind of a possible change in the flow. But as Tina pointed out from the start, the decrease in the threat level is due largely in part to the activity being so far from the community that any kind of a change or advancement still provides us with sufficient time to take action and warn the community if something's happening. So I guess in a nutshell is we're going to continue to maintain observations and situational awareness on the flow, and again, making sure the community knows that this isn't any indication that everything is over. It's just that we're seeing a significant change in the behavior that has resulted in a reduced threat.
So, I'm sorry, does that mean daily overflights continuing as far as some of the monitoring there?
Well, we'll be discussing with the mayor. I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet today regarding the decrease in the threat level. We've had some preliminary discussions earlier in the week with that being a possible scenario. But going forward, before we make any changes to the county's current operations, I'd like to review with the mayor and make a decision together with him on how we will be modifying that. But as I shared with another media person earlier, is that I am sensitive to the costs that we are incurring, taxpayer dollars that we're spending. We need to be prudent with that because, again, we're in for the long run, not a short duration event. So if there's a way to save some money now by reducing some of our operations that is not absolutely necessary, then we need to be prudent with that and take the appropriate steps and save some money. So as far as daily overflights, we may see a reduction in that, as well as maybe even a suspension of the flights after I talk it over with them.
Hey, Daryl, this is Baron from Hawaii 24/7.
Hey, Baron.
So the chain of craters alternate access route, has that operation all ceased on construction of that? Is it finished? What's the status of that?
Well, all of the ongoing projects that were protective actions taken in response to the threat are continuing. The county has not suspended or terminated any of the operations. Again, the goal was to complete all of these projects in the event that the need to open those alternate access roads. Again, the eruption is not showing any indication it's going to stop, so we still need to be aware that we could see some changing scenarios as far as threat levels long-term. And again, I don't want to be the pessimist in all of this, but the reality is, if you look at the previous history of Pu'u'u, we're in over 30 years of eruption behavior and activities. So, it's not, at this time, it would be difficult to say that we're not going to see any future impact in the community, knowing that we've had a 30-year event ongoing. So we need to, and I think the position for the administration is going to be to finish those projects in the event that things continue, and we hope it doesn't as far as any kind of threat, but we will have those contingencies in place should something happen.
Thanks.
Sure.
Any other questions for Chief Oliveira or HBL?
This is Baron again from Hawaii 24/7. So has the state been notified, or Department of Education? I know they were doing things like some of the, I don't know if some of the places were offering free Wi-Fi and things like that. And I don't know about any of the schools. I know the students were displaced over to KL.
Yeah, Baron, this is Darrell again. This morning's statewide video conference or teleconference involved many of the stakeholder agencies, to include DOE, charter schools, Department of Health, just about every organization within the counties and state that were engaged in the response to this event. Every one of those agencies is obviously looking at what they will need to do to adjust to the decrease in the threat level. As you pointed out, DOE had made some fairly significant investments and taken the necessary actions to preserve the safety and health of the students, but also their learning environment to try to make it as a rewarding or the best learning environment possible. So as far as they're going to complete the remainder of the calendar year, school year with the existing operations, so working out of the schools that the students have been relocated to, and then obviously revisiting internally what's going to be their long-term plans. So there's, I think, right now a lot of agencies reviewing, to include FEMA, reviewing what the threat reduction means and what internally each one of those agencies will be adjusting to, and also keeping in mind that until such time that the eruption changes in its behavior or stops, there is still that potential for a threat in the future.